Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, we're going to invite our guest in, Aristotle. Give me just a moment and let it get Aristotle here to join us. Please hold. Arrested. Aristotle. Hey, Blaine. Hey, Michelle. Hey, Angie. I think we're just waiting for Aristotle to join us here. Oh, there he is. Welcome.
Hi, welcome. Does this work? Because I'm technically challenged. So does this
No,
work?
you did great. You did great. I'm
Okay.
going to do a little adjustment here. Hang on for one sec,
Okay.
just for the sake of the screen, because I think I got a little cut off there. Okay, I think we're good. I think we're good. It's
Yes.
so good to see you. And a lot of people are coming into the room. I'm seeing a lot of, I'm seeing Bill. Hello, Bill. Welcome. Welcome. Super Now Productions just joined. Welcome, Super Now Productions. Okay, you guys, we're going to get started. Welcome to Frederick Johnson in Conversation. I am your host. Frederick Johnson, my guest, began his career as a child fashion model at the age of 5. This quickly led to work as a child actor and a host of commercials and television appearances. At the age of 12, he traveled internationally with the world's renowned Mitchell Boys Choir and signed his first record deal at the age of 16. Throughout his career, he has shared the stage or sung backup with many legends, including Diana Ross, Luther Vandross, Thelma Houston, Roberta Flack, and Gladys Knight. His latest album, his third, is entitled Angel of Soul and is available to stream on Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Apple Music, Tidal, iTunes, Spotify. It's everywhere. And the music video for the title track, Angel of Soul, made its worldwide premiere today. Congratulations on that. We're going to get into it all. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Aristotle.
I mean,
How are you
what can I
doing?
say after that? We're done. Bye. No one does the blow up better than you. No
Oh
one
my God. Well,
does the blow
thank
up
you. So,
better
hey,
than
you know what? You lifted all I did was say what would say a slice of what I know your journey has been. Again, congratulations on the video. Before we get started in our discussion about the video, which did have its international premiere today, I want to back up to something that happened in the news last week.
you.
On Friday, international icon Diana Ross celebrated her 77th birthday. I know that Ms. Ross has been an influence to you. And I wanted to ask, what has Diana Ross, what has been the significance of Diana Ross for you?
Oh, that is a loaded question for me because you know what? I'll say it like this. My mother put it best just last week. We were talking about Diana. And she said, you had two moms. She goes, she doesn't know it, but Diana Ross raised you along. She goes, I basically got jealous because you had another mother and that I didn't know, and that she didn't know, but she had so much influence over you. And she's right. Um, I was and still am completely obsessed with her from a child. Initially, what happened was my father. I used to play his record albums on his big, huge, old-fashioned stereo when I was like, young. I remember being very, very young. I must have been maybe 4, maybe 5. Um, and I would play his records even at that young. I was obsessed with music, and I remember getting the Supremes anthology album. It was the silver, and it had a booklet, and it had all these pictures of the Supremes. Now, mind you, they had already split up. They weren't together, but he had this album, and I became obsessed. I was like, who are these women on these pictures? Who is the lady in the front? And well, that's Diana Ross. She's a big star. She's a big singer. And I think it was then that I was like, I don't know who this woman is, and I don't know, but I got to do that. I didn't know how to, marinate it in my mind yet, but I just knew that this woman, she had a hold on me. I was convinced. I was obsessed. It was done. So that early, and then from there, it just became like a whirlwind love affair between her and I that she has no idea about. You know what I mean? I've tried to talk to Tracy. I've tried to tell Chutney. I've talked to, it goes over their head because I hear it all the time. But I'm like, no, you don't understand. Like, I'm your brother. You know, I'm your brother. You know what I mean? But they kind of like, okay, give it security, you know. But no,
Yeah.
I completely
Yeah.
obsessed, and I absolutely adore, live, breathe her. And I'm
Yes.
so thankful that she's made it this far, because a lot of people that I followed and that were iconic to me that I loved did not make it. We can talk about that if you
Yeah.
want, but didn't
Yeah.
make it. But
Yeah.
she has. You know, she's made it through,
Yes.
and I just adore her. I'm so happy for her. Yeah.
Yes. Well, happy birthday, Miss Ross, and I'm glad you
Happy
had an
birthday.
opportunity to pay that homage because I know how what an influence she has been, you know, on you and your artistry. So thank you for sharing about that. And now onto your artistry and this new project, Angel of Soul. Congrats again on this video. I have so many questions. It's beautiful. It's stunning. I
Oh.
want to ask you about the concept, how this all came together, and talk a little bit about. I'm hoping everyone that's watching right now has had an opportunity to watch the video because we did start streaming it earlier today. But talk about what's the story going on in this video.
Oh, wow. You know, no one has ever really asked me that, and it makes me a little bit emotional. Because there is such a story. So we should start with the song and where it came from, and that will give you, you know, preference to the video or whatever. Um,
Please.
so the song, the whole Angel of Soul concept, and the phrase Angel of Soul is not mine. So really quickly, long story short, one of my bass players that I had a few years back, that I don't work with her anymore, but we were talking one day, and we were doing gigs and everything like that, and she just looked at me and she goes, you know, we were talking about music and, like, you know, how hard it is, and artistry, and she looked at me and she goes, you know, you're like an angel of soul. And I got chills, and I said, wow. It was like I didn't know what she was saying, but I knew what she was saying, and like she knew what she was saying, if that makes any sense to you. But
Mhm.
she told me, you're like an angel of soul. That's just the best way to describe you. And I kind of got chill bumps, and I kind of forgot about it, never thought about it again. Cut to a few years later when I'm recording and writing for this album that took me another 2 or 3 years to actually get out. I had kind of left the concept alone, but I decided to pick it up because I loved that phrase, the idea, and I said, maybe I should write a song about that. Um, the album was originally not called Angel of Soul, and it had nothing to do with the Angel of Soul concept or anything. It was called Opening Number, which is the first song on the album. That's what it was called. But I was going through a crossroads, and I don't remember like what had happened, but I wasn't feeling very good. You know how life is up and down, and things happen good and they don't. I was going through like a whirlwind and a crossroads of some sort. I don't remember even what it was. But I was like, do I even want to record this album? It's so difficult. I don't have backing. I don't have anybody to help me pay for it, fund it. I'm doing it all myself. Nobody's cutting me a break. Even after all the years, all the people that I know, nobody's kind of helping me do anything. And I sat down on my bed and I said, God, I said to God, I said, do I do this anymore? Is this even worth it? Maybe you have another plan for me. Maybe that's why it's so difficult. And I said, who am I as an artist? And I literally almost like channeled these words onto paper. These are not my words. It's God or somebody, honey, but it's not me. I channeled the words onto paper, and I wrote the song Angel of Soul in about 10 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and so that was like, so that song is very special to me. It's very close to my heart because it's not from me. It was given to me. Literally, I
Yeah.
understand people say that things are given to you and there's gifts that happen. It really does happen.
Yes.
And it happened to
Yes.
me, and that song happened that way. So to answer your question about the video, it's, you know, I'm a visual person, and I'm a creative spirit, and when I create and I write, as soon as I wrote the song, I saw the video. That's just how I am.
Mm.
I see the video for every song that I've ever written in my life. I just don't have a budget to make the videos for it, you know. But I see it. No, what I never have to ever hire, you know, a person to put me together. You know, as far as even styling, because I see it. I visually see it. I see myself doing it. So I immediately saw Angels. I saw us all in white, which is another, you know, premonition or manifestation that I was told to wear white for the beginnings of coming out with this project and the beginnings of the career as it is now. And eventually I'll let that concept go. But right now I'm to wear white. I don't really know why. I say because my father continued from heaven, you know, that way. But I wear white, and I saw these beautiful angels. I saw them in white. I saw them just kind of crowding around me and supporting me, much like they must really do. You know, who knows? I definitely saw them in different nationalities, because I've always been a person like to include and inclusive of everyone. That's just who and I innately am as a person. My friends are diverse. I've got friends of all walks of life, races, creeds, colors. So the angels had to be of different nationalities for me. That was just a given. And I just wanted it beautiful and ethereal, and I wanted to reflect love and light, and throw my beautiful family in there too.
Yes, your family is in there as well, which was it. Even you even give an homage to your father in the final scene of the video, which is just such a beautiful moment. You achieved everything that you just said as far as what you wanted to conjure with the video. It's so well directed, and I hope I pronounce this name correctly. Is the director Lindley Ehrlich? Is that
You got
correct?
Lindley Ehrlich.
I
Lindley,
got it,
yeah.
Lindley Ehrlich. So how did you find that director, and how did you know that was the right collaborator for this project?
Again, so everything that happened with this video and even with this album has been not what was planned, matter of fact, kind of serendipity, kind of a fluke, kind of like it just came together. From the hiring of the models and the ones that were chosen, just kind of everything just kind of just worked out. So I really think there's something divine in that. Lindley, I've known for several years, but not as a director and a videographer and having to do with anything like that. I knew her musically. We actually sang we sang together a few years back for some kind of competition or something before. I don't remember what it was. And the reason why I reached out to her is because I knew that she did casting. She's a really noted casting director in Los Angeles. She's done American Idol. She's done a lot of different, you know, noted reality shows. She's really kind of big in that arena. So I was looking for a director, and I reached out to her just for her to give me a nod to somebody. Do you know somebody that can help me out? You know, work me out a deal maybe, or like that can just help me put this project together, and I'm doing it all myself. And she said, darling, she goes, I can. She goes, I do that. And I was like, huh? And she said, yeah. And she actually, it's not our first project. We had done my reality show that I have coming out. We can talk about it later or whatever. She directed and filmed that for my sizzle reel. And then she did so well, and she was so accommodating for me and like allowing me to kind of, you know, be myself, and, you know, not have any frames where I'm looking like Hungry Hippo and things like that. You know, she was really letting me kind of have creative reign, because I kind of am that kind of person that needs creative reign on my stuff. And so sweet about it. I was like, you got to do the video. And she was so happy to do it. And that's how I
Mm-hmm.
met her. Yeah.
Well, it was a wonderful collaboration. She did a great job. And, you know, when you start with a great song like that, really, you got to have that to really engage people. And I think you achieved it with the song, which we can talk about. I want to talk about the record, because I know it's the title track. The record is amazing. Congratulations again on that. I encourage everyone to go to all of those places I mentioned where they can stream the album. No, it's a soul record, but you're blending pop, R&B, there's dance, You've got your signature inspirational ballads that I know you're known for, but everything, you know, as a songwriter, I'm saying this as a song creator, you really did it all on this album. You've got lyrics, you've got melody, you've got content, you've got production value, you've got musicianship. I mean, everything across the board.
Oh, that
It
really
is
means
you
so
did,
much to me. That means so much to me. Thank
yeah.
you.
Yes, you did wonderfully. And in Angel of Soul, I love the lyrics. And you talked about how you were led to, you know, how you channeled, and even listening to that song, I know what you mean. It was like it kind of just came through you onto the paper.
Right.
And opening number, which I call your funk track. Opening number, I really think of as your funk track.
Yes.
There's a similarity because you talk about in the lyrics in Angel of Soul, this character who has been crying for a long time and dying for a long time. And
Yes.
I'm going to read a couple of lyrics from opening number. In opening number, you talk about, I'm rising up from the ashes, better hold your glasses. Took
Ah!
such a long time for anyone to listen, but I keep writing these songs, hoping one day I glisten. So I feel like in both Angel of Soul and opening number, there's this theme of resilience. And so I want to ask you, in your career, what have you learned about resilience and what keeps you going?
Wow, your questions are always so loaded, and I'm like, this could take 2 days. Okay, no, but it won't. I promise. So you really, the way that you pay attention to detail is so amazing because a lot of people don't, and it's very inspiring and uplifting for me that you saw between those cracks because you're very right. There's a lot of things that I could say, but I guess I'll just basically say that, you know, I feel I'm not religious and I don't want to sound religious. I'm spiritual. But I don't want to sound religious, but you know, I think as humans, we go through our lives trying to prove ourselves, trying to prove our worth, prove our value. And anyway, for me personally, I feel like God was trying to tell me at this crossroads when I wrote Angel of Soul is like, you're trying to convince and prove everybody of who you are, but I created you. You don't have to prove it to me. So like, there's nothing that you have to do or prove. You are what I say you are. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And so that's where that comes from. And so that's where the resilience comes from. That's where, you know, I've been, it's, we'll have to have another conversation of the trials and tribulations. You know what I mean? And the people that denied me or hated me or lied or talked about me. I've been through all of that. It's never really affected me because I know who I am. And I do have to credit that to my mother and father. You know, I grew up with enormous love in my life. And they always encouraged me and told me that I could do and be anything. And it just kind of stuck. I really believed them. So, you know, I had this home life where I was telling, you know, you got this, you can do whatever you want to do. There really is, you know, nothing that you can't accomplish if you want to. So I had that going on. But then when I went out into the world and people looked at me and said, who the hell do you think you are? And what are you trying to do? And who said you could do this? Who said you could be this? Who said you could be fabulous? And, you know, who are you? And they definitely, you know, told me that. I had to take a step back and go, wait a second, but I know who I am though. You may not agree with it. It doesn't really matter because I've learned that the only thing that really matters is how we feel about ourselves. So if you can get
Right.
that down,
Right.
if you can grasp that concept in any way, shape, or form, you will never worry about anybody having something to say bad about you, talking about you, not accepting you. It will just roll off your back because you'll know who you are. So that's where
Yeah.
that comes
And
from.
I think to have a career in this industry, you have to be able to grasp that because
Absolutely.
you won't last long
You,
because uh,
baby,
yeah,
you'll
yeah,
last a day and then you're gone.
yeah. You mentioned Aristotle you know, the beauty of the support you had from your parents. And there's a song on the album called Direct Line, aka Daddy's Song, which is another beautiful ballad on the album. You have so many beautiful descriptions of your father in this song. One of them, you refer to him as a giving tree. And I wanted to ask you, how did your father influence you as an artist?
How did he influence me as a human being is what you would need to ask, because I'm a human being first and then I'm an artist. Um, I was thinking about this recently, and your questions, I don't want to get emotional. Your questions are so deep though. But he was, his legacy, because I was like, what was it? His legacy was a legacy of love. I am the product of what being unconditionally loved looks like. That's who I am, because my father and my mother, but you're asking about my father, you know, loved me so much. And everybody that knows us will go, yes, he did. I can vouch for that. Yeah, he absolutely did. And it shows in my confidence. It shows in who I am. It shows in everything. And most importantly, is, I'm not a statistic, nor are you. We have similar upbringings, I'm not, I look at the media and the news and see how, we as Black men are depicted. I despise toxic masculinity. I despise it, because I feel like you just need to just be you, whoever that is, and embrace it and love yourself, But it's a hard pill to swallow, and it's easier said than done in the life
Yeah.
and that in the
Yeah.
in the community, in the industry, in the world, it's easier
Yeah.
said than done.
Yeah.
But I am the way that I am, and I'm accepting of myself, and I love myself, largely in part because of him. And he absolutely was a giving tree.
Mm-hmm.
He gave to me all of my life. We weren't rich, we weren't, but you'd never know it. If you knew me as a child, you would think that we were, because I was dressed in the best of, designer clothes, went to private schools, you were there. Hello, you were there for, but
We're going to talk about that. We'll talk about that in a moment. We'll
in
talk
a
about
moment.
that in a moment.
Okay, went to private schools. Like, he took care of me. He took care of me. You know what I'm saying? And it had,
Yeah.
I am very aware, and I'm very sympathetic and empathetic to the fact that not all Black men are this way. And that's a whole nother book too. And that, their raising and upbringing don't lead them to, sometimes taking initiative and taking effort for theirs. You know what I'm saying? And I get it all, and I get the whole, the way the society is with us of we're statistics. We're expected to not be this or have this or do this. I never knew any of that until I went to school. I did not grow up that. My father took care of house. He took care of me, and that was it. And he did until his very last day. You know what I'm saying? And he was a giving tree. That's just the best way to describe him, is a giving tree, because he gave and gave and gave, So, yeah.
Yes, thank you. And yeah, I'm sure that song's a beautiful tribute. We mentioned also to you mentioning him at the Angel of Soul video. And then when we actually talk about the show, which I want to mention really quickly, because you did this incredible full-scale production that was actually the album release show for Angel of Soul. So I got to see you perform all of the tracks on the album live, as well as it was a big 2-act show. You did a lot of songs, but I did get to hear all of the tracks from Angel of Soul, and there was also a tribute of your father in that show as well. And I wanted to just ask about that quickly before we go back to talking about the album, is because the show happened literally 3 weeks before we all went into like a national lockdown. I mean, like literally, like the pandemic was on the verge. Like it was on the verge. It
If I had
existed,
waited
but
another
then we kind of
week, it wouldn't have happened. It wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I know that probably you had a plan of what's going to happen next with this project, but you had to, as all of us had to, and especially as a lot of artists had to, that had projects that were coming out, you had to pivot, and so I know you've been busy during this COVID and quarantine time.
Yeah.
You didn't let that stop you. So I really
Oh,
hope that as we come out of this time and we're back in a place where we can all go into the theater, that you'll be kind of getting back on track with your plan, with what was going to be forthcoming with that show, because it was amazing, the production.
absolutely. And let me say too that you were amazing because you emceed that show and also
Thank you.
performed yourself. So for my show we're going to interview you,
Thank you.
and you were absolutely
Okay.
amazing. And yes, you're right. If I
Well,
had
thank you. I
go ahead. What were you going to say?
No, no, no. I was just going to say it
Oh,
was my honor and my pleasure to be the MC that night for that show. But go ahead. Go ahead.
oh, thank you. No, if we had waited any more time, because I canceled the first show. I don't know if you remember that, because we had some technicalities. If I had waited a week later, the show would not have happened. So I feel so blessed
Right.
that to
Right.
get that on the stage. Because
Yes.
that whole again concept, creativity, what I saw visually, I needed to get that out. And the video was supposed to happen then. But all the time that it took, it proved meant to be, because I was able to really, through this time that we've had of reflection, I call it, create and breathe
Mm-hmm.
and think about what I really wanted to do, what I really wanted to accomplish.
Yeah.
And so this time for me, I know a lot of people, and we've talked about this, have said, that it's been like, the worst time of their life, and they were so upset, and I had those things too. I lost my job like everybody else did, my day job or whatever. But all this time that I've had to create, reflect, think, ponder, has been like heaven on earth for me. I've
Yeah.
used this time to remember who I am, and have
Yeah.
come out with these amazing projects, so it's
Yeah.
been a blessing for me. Yeah.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes. Well, Aristotle, one more question before we move on from the album, because I want to talk about some other things as well. But before we move on from the album, there's one more song I have to mention, because it's another gorgeous ballad you have on the album called "Hurts All Over," which talk a little bit about that song. This is the way I see it. For me, "Hurts All Over," it's an anti-hate song. It's a call for humanity. I won't necessarily say it's a political song, but I would kind of put it in that camp of the types of songs that really are kind of calling for the world to be in unity and to be
Absolutely.
one in love.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about how you came to create "Hurts All Over."
Okay, so Hurts All Over, and you're absolutely right. Your description is spot on, and it's become kind of an anthem, and it's almost like, I'm almost sad that it's an anthem, that we keep having situations in life and events that the song is so, valid for. But originally the song was written, it was the first track that Daniela DeCario, my producer, and I created together for the album. We created it several years before the album even came out. And it was originally created because of Trayvon Martin. As soon as that happened, I was, so upset like everybody. And I was looking at the footage, and I was just looking at everything. And I was on my bed again. I'm on my bed a lot writing. That's weird. But I was on my bed, and I started writing. And I was like, this hurts. I was like, this hurts all over. And what I meant, some people had made reference to it hurts all over your body. It can. But what I meant was it hurts all over the world. It's not just this isolated place and thing that we're going to. It hurts all over the world. And so it was originally written for him. You know, I sent it to his family. I don't even know if they ever got it, but so the first verse is absolutely about him. You know, in the wrong place, wrong time. That's all meant for him. The second verses, I decided to spread out into the world. So I remember at the time we were in, well, there was a big war in Syria. And I saw these images of these people, you know, covered in, you know, soot from the bombs. And I saw this little boy covered. And I was like, you know, the bombing all over the all over the world. That was for Syria. The ironic thing about this song is that it's become, you know, prevalent and valid for about 100 or even 1,000 other incidents that we've had. You know, I played
Yeah.
George Floyd, Tiana, what's her name? Brianna. All of them. It's become so, you know, like it goes for them as well. All these are, but it was originally written for him, but it's proven to be like an anthem, like you said.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is kind of
Every
sad.
time I listen to it, I listened to it again yesterday. Every time I've listened to the song, of course, I listened to it when you first released it as a single, you know, before I had the album. And every time I listen to it, it sadly, it's resonating again. Like it's newly resonating because of something else that might be happening in the world. And it really is kind of like, it's almost like one big hurt, but there's one big love. And then, you know, however you might refer to that love, whatever you might pray to, whatever you might call out to, but it's really a call for healing. It's a call for love. It's a beautiful song. So I'm going to move off from the album because we could just talk about the album this entire hour, but you have been performing all of your life. And so when I met you, and I mentioned this in the intro, that at 12, you became a part of the renowned Mitchell Boys Choir. That's where we met. So we met in the Mitchell Boys Choir. And for those who are watching that may not know, Robert Mitchell, or we used to call him Bob Mitchell, was an iconic arranger and the creator of a boys choir that appeared in dozens of Hollywood films. They provided music for these films. They performed in these films. I mean, going back to movies with like James Cagney. The Mitchell Boys Choir performed in The Bishop's Wife. Later, we saw Whitney Houston do a remake of it called The Preacher's Wife. But in the original, The Bishop's Wife, the Mitchell Boys Choir recorded with Bing Crosby and Frank Sinatra. So it was a big deal to be in this choir. And we were working child performers. I mean, we lived with Bob Mitchell at his home in Hollywood, and we traveled. We had a tutor, just kind of like kids that are on television shows, and how they by law have to have a tutor on the set for the child actor. You know, we had a tutor that was there because we weren't in school. We were traveling and we were working. And I want to ask you about this. But you were in the choir much longer than I was.
Yeah.
So you had more experiences. But what I remember, I'll just say, Bob Mitchell, let me tell you, this was like old school. He was still old school Hollywood. Like this was a very much a Shirley Temple, Judy Garland kind of situation.
Oh, yes,
I mean, this man. We
Frog,
were working,
like something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, we were working. Like this man was rehearsing. He didn't treat us like kids. You know, he treated us like professional performers. And I just remember he rehearsed us hours into the night. He was a perfectionist. He was brilliant at what he did, and he was kind of had a little mad genius thing about him. But you know, this was part of his legacy. This was his business. And it very much felt that way. So I'm grateful I had that opportunity. But yeah, it wasn't like camp. You know, when people are like, oh, you were in a boys choir. It wasn't like going to a camp for the summer. Like this was work. That's what I'm saying. It was very like, yeah.
I love that.
What are your reflections?
When she talked about her life, like in her memoirs of The Wizard of Oz, it was very much like he worked us to death. Like he worked our butts. You know what I mean? And it was very much like that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. And I have no, you know, I'm grateful for that experience, because I think even as a kid, I didn't know the significance of Robert Mitchell. I think we were all just glad. We all just wanted to sing, and we could sing for a living, and we could travel. And, you know, there were about a dozen boys or so in this choir. So, I mean, it really was a very unique experience. So I know he passed away, I want to say, I don't know what it was, 10 years ago, he was like 90 something years old.
I
He lived a
didn't know
very
until
long
much
life.
after that he passed. Yeah. So for
Yeah.
me, you
Yeah.
know, because before that, I was doing a lot of acting. I did modeling stuff, but I did a lot of acting before him. I don't know that I was doing that much singing, but the Bob Mitchell thing was my mother's idea. He's like, I found this choir director that has this voice choir, and her thing was like, oh, they're like the Vienna voice choir, you know. And so I'm
Yeah.
thinking, you know, well, internet, you know, how old were we? I don't remember, like 11 or 12. I'm thinking, you know, international. I could
Yeah.
do Europe. You know, I could do Europe. You know what I mean? Like what? You know, I could, caravan around Europe and like, you know, buy some clothes in Paris or whatever. This is in my, 11-year-old mind.
Right. And I
And I
have to
get
just
there.
say, because I met you, you were 12, and I just have to say, this is you. Like, this was you. Like, you were that fly back then at 12 years old. I just want people to know. Like, when I
Yeah,
met you, like, you were that fierce then, with clothes, accessories, knowledge of fashion. I mean, you had been modeling as a child. So
yeah.
this isn't like you're making this up now. Like, this really, you were that sophisticated
People
about
always
that.
ask me like, oh, you put it on so much, and like, you come out and you're always flawless. I'm like, put on what? Like, this is just me. This is just Sunday. This is not, you know what I mean? It really is who I am. I grew up this way. I was, treated this way. This is who I am.
Yeah.
But the Mitchell Singing Boys. So anyway, so I had this in my mind. I get there. Thank God, saving graces like you were there that I met. That was a significant relationship for me, friendship. But I was there one night and was like, oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. Like, no. I caught a whiff of like, you were being so nice about it. And he is an iconic figure and such a wonderful, brilliant, talented man. But let's tell the truth, he was also crazy. You know what I'm saying? And like, so, I caught a whiff
That's what I
of
was trying to say. The
crazy,
mad genius. He had a little mad genius about him.
magic,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it. I caught a whiff of that, and I was like, "Oh hell no!" And my
Yeah.
mother, because it was so good for the resume and like such a good experience. And she knew that, and I thank her now, but then I didn't. She was like,
Yeah.
"No, just please stay. Just please stay. Do this. Do it for as long as you can. This is really good." And I fought tooth and nail. I did not want to be there. Did not want to be
Yeah.
there, but I, just sucked it up and got through it. And I'm glad that I did. I still talk to some of those guys you obviously, and a couple of the other guys I still talk to. Was a great experience because it taught me work ethic. It taught me perfectionism, to
Yeah.
work hard.
Yeah.
My voice actually
Yeah.
was changing at that time. I don't know if you
Yeah.
knew. And
Yes.
he still gave
Yeah.
me solos. So I sang through I would crack on every note, but he still gave me solos,
Yeah.
it was a great experience that I can use now, but at the time it did not feel that way. you know.
Yeah. It was tough. I mean, it was kind of a mixed bag as a kid, because there were all these other really cool young guys that we were friends with and lived with, but it was work. I mean, it was
Now
work, and it was
the
some.
side, the flip side
Yeah.
of that
Yeah.
is that that was when I first started to understand how a celebrity lives and what it's
Yeah.
like almost to be a celebrity,
Yeah.
because we were in and out of celebrities' homes. It was no big deal. We
Yeah.
would be hired as
Right.
the entertainment for their party. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
We did a
would be at
lot
these
of
Beverly Hills
private
mansions.
entertainment in homes of celebrities, and, always in Beverly Hills, in Bel Air.
Always.
A lot of holiday parties. We did a lot of charities, that a lot of times it was the celebrities that were kind of driving the charities. And so it was an interesting insight. And I was
Yeah.
13 years old. And,
Yeah.
so here was this kind of crazy experience of, knowing, and I knew who these people were because I was
Yeah.
old enough
Yeah.
to know who these celebrities were. And
Oh,
then, but so
oh yeah.
it was surreal. But again, even then, I knew because of Bob Mitchell, when we would be at this charity, this home in Bel Air, whatever the case may have been, I didn't come out of line. I stayed in line. Like I knew where I was and who people were, but I was like, you know what? I'm more afraid of Bob Mitchell.
Right.
So like, let me stay professional.
It's so
Like,
like
you know what I mean?
I realize how these child actors, I know what they're talking about, how like we were on, like we would go into these places and people were like, people thought, oh, you're so sweet, you're so cute, you sing so well. They just thought we were just just so happy. Child, they had no idea, that we were like, we were on, we were, because if we weren't on,
Yeah.
we would have been,
Yes.
So yeah,
Yes.
totally. But what an
Well,
experience.
Aristotle, tell me this. Yeah, what an experience. What an experience. And tell me this because you have been a staple, in the music scene. I mean, while you've traveled all over, you especially been a staple playing like every major venue in Los Angeles, from Hollywood to downtown to, all over the place, every major venue. And I wanted to ask you, and this is about the live music scene, but it's also about the recording industry too, because the paradigm has shifted. Like the music industry, as far as from the perspective of being a recording artist, isn't even what it was 15 plus years ago, prior to a streaming world. So I wanted to ask you your perspective about that as a recording artist, and also too, if you've even seen on a live music perspective, if that's also changed.
Well, it's a double-edged sword, because when I was, coming up, the whole thing was you got to get a record deal. You got to get a big record deal, this big, advance, and this big record deal, and be put out and be, prepped and prepared and developed by this major company that's going to make you a star. So that was the whole thing of like the record deal. I think, and now it's absolutely, the record deal is obsolete. Do we even have record companies anymore? You know what I mean? Like, it's people are putting it out, people are putting it out themselves. Yeah. And this is good and bad. We're finding people come up from the woodwork who would have probably never got airplay, but had the courage enough to create something in their bathroom, closet, basement. And like, I think of Billie Eilish, they made those tracks in her bedroom. You know what I'm saying? We would have maybe never seen her because she wouldn't have been a person, just to be honest, of how the industry works. Especially when I was coming up, her physicality, she's very much herself, but a lot of times they wanted you to have more of a, something going on physically that people were attracted to. So she may have been overlooked. They may have not listened to her because her physicality is just so, odd in herself. You know what I'm saying? So in that respect, it brings people out of the woodwork, these amazing, great talents, On the other flip side of it, we don't have the support. I'm speaking of we because I'm indie too. I brought my record out myself. We don't have the support, the backing, the financing, the promotion. You need money to promote. It's not that you don't have a masterpiece. If no one hears it, you know what I'm saying? It can create dust when it could be a true gem,
Yeah.
So that's the double-edged sword with that. And then as far as performing is concerned, I think we're better off where we are coming from now because, record companies in the deals that they created for you back in the day would account for all of those tours and those traveling and performing and take so much of an artist's money. And to where, you were left, I mean, you've heard the horror stories of deals gone wrong throughout, the industry, throughout the music industry. They would account for that. If they gave you an advance, it was pretty and cute getting it, but paying that back if your record doesn't sell is not so cute. You know what I'm saying? It left a lot of people homeless,
Yeah.
in that respect, you know, like for instance, for me with the Angel of Soul, you know, visual concept that I did, I did it myself, paid for it myself, so I didn't have anybody to owe but me. You know what I'm saying? And for and
Yeah.
that respect, it's a good thing. So
Yeah.
it's bringing people out, you know, and I also want to say that I think the reason why this happened in regards to record companies and the shift and it not being the same, I think it's a manifestation of the way that they treated artists. You know, they definitely treated me like how you had to fit into this mold. You had to sing these songs. You look like this. Okay, yeah, you can sing, but your voice is more R&B. So you're gonna sing R&B. You're gonna wear this. You're
Yeah.
gonna do this. You're gonna you know
Yeah.
play this crowd. And we're gonna create you. You may not be that because I definitely wasn't any of those things that everybody thought that I was. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And
Right.
I think it's a
Yeah.
manifestation of the underdogs and the people like myself who are saying, I don't want you to define me. I don't want you to, dissect who you think I am based on who I look like and who you think my demographic is. I want to be who I am, which is
Yeah.
international, universal. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Playing to
Hmm.
many people and types and
Hmm.
crowds, and
Hmm.
and so I'm able, like you said, you hit it on the nose so well of describing my album. It has this, it
Yeah.
has that, it has that, and it does. You know, the fact that you see it is so thrilling for me because I wouldn't have been able to put an album out like Angel of Soul with a record deal because they would have been like, what is it? Is
Where
it
does it fit?
where does it fit? Is
What
it soul
genre? Right.
gospel? Is it da 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 da? So I mean, did I say enough? I don't. Yeah.
I think you did. No, you answered that perfectly. Yeah. So I get it. It's the double-edged sword, but yeah, I think at the end of the day, there is, while what I'm hearing is while there may not be the corporate backing that helps, it's a different day. Like people are, because used to be a point, like even now, just the way you get exposed to music, like it used to be channeled in these very specific ways. So you were only going to buy it at the record store. You were only going to be able to get, and now people are discovering things in so many different channels and so many different virtual venues that,
Yeah.
people really can kind of put their own stuff out there. So I want to talk. So you also too have your family. You have this production company, Heavenly Divine Entertainment. I
Yeah.
know that you have different projects going on. One, I believe, is, if you don't mind talking about it, because I know you are pitching a new particular series to Netflix, and if you want to talk about that project as much as you can,
Yeah.
and
So
whatever else Heavenly Divine Entertainment maybe working on.
so what I can say, because it is under negotiations and it is being pitched, is that it's a beauty concept, because you know that I've been a professional makeup artist for years, just like my music. Um and when the pandemic happened, I saw so many of us out of work. The glam squads, the makeup artists, the hairdressers, the stylists, we were cut off from it, man. I mean, it really affected us because we we couldn't do any of that. You know what I'm saying? And so the concept was born out of that. I can't go into detail about it, but I am hosting a collaboration between beauty artists,
Okay.
and letting them be their full spectrum and full creative selves in a very creative environment. And it's a great, people, everybody that's seen the concept, I've talked to about it, loves it. And I'm excited about that. It's because I wanted to get back into my acting, and so I recently got an agent again, so it kind of is along the lines of that. Like,
Hmm.
it's
Yeah.
not acting, but it's I'm hosting, and it's like this whole like
Yeah.
thing that I haven't done in a while, so it feels good,
Right.
yeah.
Good. Okay.
And
Well,
as
we'll
far as
look
other
forward to
projects,
hearing.
we have a lot going on. I said that I was going to wait to tell you. I have a lot of different things happening right now, but I know that you'll appreciate this.
Uh-oh.
But I decided to remake a song, okay?
Uh-oh.
Because everybody I've heard so many times that when people hear the song from this artist on the radio, they don't hear the artist, they hear me, because they just associate me with this song. And I was like, it's time to do it. It's time to remake it. I've shied away from it, but I'm doing it in homage. So it doesn't matter that I'm not, the, the,
What
the
is it?
force that the
What
person.
song?
Well, I don't even have to tell you because you actually posted it. You posted me doing it. So think about
Oh,
it.
wait a minute. Ain't Nobody?
Yes. I'm remaking Ain't Nobody.
Well,
So
look,
chocolate.
okay, that's going to be amazing. Um, you have always written your own material and collaborated with other producers and written original material. But when people go to your live shows, you are also known for signature covers. Like there's a lot of songs I feel like you should record because you know how to choose the perfect song. Like you do Get Here from Alita Adams, which is amazing.
Yeah.
You've always done Stevie Wonder. You've always done Donny Hathaway. Like you do the classics.
Yeah.
Like you
Definitely.
do a little Tina Marie. You do some
Definitely.
Whitney. You do. I mean, you do. So I am not surprised, and I'm glad to hear that because that's one that I know has always been in your repertoire when you do the covers
Yeah.
as well. So congrats on the. Well, I am looking forward to that. Thank you for sharing that with us. And if anybody missed that post, they can go back. It was a couple of days ago, so they can just go back on my feed and see a post that was from last year's Angel of Soul concert. Now, speaking of artists too that you cover, I want to talk a little bit about the Prince tribute band because that's a side project you have. So talk about, and we do, I cannot believe our hour is almost over. We're already like 9 minutes before our hour's over, but I want to talk about
We could talk for.
pre-pandemic. I know. Now, pre-pandemic, I know you had plans with like a Vegas residency, your Prince tribute band. Like a pandemic, of course, everything was kind of fell to the wayside. But I wanted to ask you to talk about that side project, which is amazing,
Yeah.
and also to talk about too, like the significance of Prince that you would even have a Prince tribute band.
So really quickly, I've always been associated with him. I've always been, I don't want to say compared, but I look so close to him, and I did, especially when I was younger. And my style, I guess
Yeah.
people need something to associate you with or something to make themselves comfortable and go put you in like a box category. It's not always a bad thing. It's just that's how they are able to accept you. And so Prince has been that thing for me. So when I was very young, I got it all the time. And I was asked to do cruise ships as him. I was asked to do tribute bands before. And I always was like, absolutely not. Because I was my own person and I had my own style in my own way. And I wanted to, be very me, but I see it in a different light now. I'm very flattered and thankful and grateful that people associate me with such an iconic person and such a great artist. And so I'm so happy to do this tribute band for him. And I also, there has been no talk yet of his movie, but y'all, whoever's putting that on, I'm down. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Let me do that. But yeah, I just feel grateful and thankful. He has such an iconic repertoire, such an amazing artist, and
Yeah.
I'm so happy that I embrace it now, where I
Yeah.
didn't embrace it before.
Well, you do a yeah. Well, you do a great job, and I got to see you did incorporate in last year's concert. You incorporated a little taste of the tribute band, where you did a montage of songs, which was phenomenal. So I'm looking forward to seeing more from
And we're
that
planning on
project. I want,
gigging and traveling and doing that for sure.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, awesome. Awesome. Well, I want to remind everyone before we go, the album, Angel of Soul, the incredible album, Angel of Soul, you can stream it again. I'm just going to read it off because I don't forget anything. Spotify, iTunes, Tidal, Apple Music, iHeart Music, Amazon Music. Just search Aristotle, Angel of Soul. You can stream. And then you can also, on Aristotle's YouTube page, you can find the world premiere from earlier today of the title track's video, Angel of Soul, the gorgeous video. I'll be posting all of this as well when we post this video. When we do our post-interview post, I'll have all of that information in the post as well. Aristotle, it has been an honor to know you all these years, and thank God my father, like your mom, put me in the Mitchell Boys Choir,
Yeah.
because this is now, because of that, I was able to meet you and have this enduring friendship over all of these years, and it's been such a pleasure to just see you relentlessly, unapologetically, and continuously be yourself, insist on being the artist that you are, whatever stage or venue that might be, and to really just endure, and I really think just kind of like be one of those performers, especially in our hometown, that's still around, that's still here, that's still gigging, that's still putting out music. So, thank you for being the inspiration that you always are, and it's just been a pleasure to have you on the show today. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Likewise, you are a light, you are joy, you are just love personified. You've always been. You've always been such a dear friend to me. And I appreciate that so much. And this is so, you are so in your element with this thing. And I hope this blows up for you because it should and you deserve it.
Thank you.
And my family is online. And
Thank you.
I just want to give a shout out to them because they love you. And they're watching you. They're here. My
Love
sisters are here. They keep, I see you guys. I love you. And you're amazing.
I see your sister.
You
So
so
we
much.
do have to give a nod. And I have to say, because your family has always been like a second family to me. So I want to give a special nod to your mom, Gwen, your sisters, Danielle and Michelle, and the entire family, because they've always been just like a second family to me. So I'm glad you guys, ladies, thank you guys for coming in and watching the show. And I want to thank everybody who joined us today. And thank you again, Aristotle. Best of luck with Angel of Soul. And we'll see everyone on the next episode of Frederick Johnson in Conversation, everybody. All righty. God bless.
God bless. Thank you all. Thank you. Bye.